this is Jaya. In this video, we shall see about literature in the light of myth through archetypal approach. Archetypal approach is also called the totemic or mythological or ritualistic approach, and this also requires a close textual reading and is also concerned with the aesthetic satisfaction of the readers, and it also seems to have some psychological and sociological and of course historical and non-historical approaches, and it reflects a strong contemporary interest in myth. It is the influence of both Fraser and Jung. The major work of Sir James George Fraser, the Scottish anthropologist, was The Golden Bough, which appeared in 12 volumes. In the 20s, a number of scholars, mostly Cantabrian, turned their knowledge of the work of Fraser and of Sir Edward Taylor to a new kind of study of the classics. The group, composed of Jane Harrison, F.M. Conford, Gilbert Murray, Andrew Lang and others, dealt with the ritual conflicts underlying the work of the Greek tragedians and Homer. Conford examined the ritualistic basics of Greek comedy in one study and the ritual figure of the Greek god king in another. Miss Harrison explored the social origins of Greek religion. Their general view has been summarized in Miss Harrison's Ancient Art and Ritual. The work was a direct influence upon the creative use of myth by Joyce and others. Carl Gustav Jung's chief contribution is the theory of the collective unconsciousness. The two forces represented by Fraser and Jung, asserting the validity of myth and its retention in the social memory, strongly appeal to the creative imagination. D.H. Lawrence's motive of blood consciousness is obviously close to the theory. In his notes to The Wasteland, T.S. Eliot acknowledges his debt to Jessie Weston's From Ritual to Romance as well as to Golden Bough. This advantage has led other writers to myth. The writers are Robert Graves, James Joyce and Yeats. C.S. Lewis has illustrated the appeal by retelling the story of Psyche and Cupid of man's struggle towards eternal love. Freud had established that rituals and taboos were dealt with consciously by primitive man but unconsciously by civilized man. D.H. Lawrence's studies in classic American literature exhibits an inclination to consider various fictitious characters like Natty Bumbu, Hester Pyrney as archetypes. Maud Bonkin's Archetypal Patterns in Poetry is of a classic of its kind. Kenneth Brooke often relies in his concept of symbolic action on social anthropology. For him, the artist is often a medicine man and the work of art his medicine. In pursuit of the implied relationship between poet, poem, and audience, Burke often discusses taboos, fetishes, ritual paradigms. In Antony, in behalf of the play, he works out the strategy of Shakespeare's drama as rendered necessary by the traditional feelings of the audience towards authority, revolution, and scapegoat. Ritual patterns in Shakespeare have also been studied by others like Colin Still in The Timeless Theme and G. Wilson Knight in several of his works. Leslie Fieldler has uncovered an American cultural pattern involving a relationship between men and reflected times in the rituals of boyhood gangs, sometimes in unconsciously symbolic ceremonies of adults. He finds the scheme employed in American novels like The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn and Moby Dick, and in the social mores of cowboys in Montana. This uneasiness illustrates the dichotomous attitude of many readers towards this approach. On the one hand, more critics are turning to the anthropological study of literature. On the other, animadversions are made and results often ridiculed. Malcolm Cowley has showered uncontrolled totemic criticism on Richard Chase's Herman Melville for stewing together a mess of Freudian and Christian symbols. Totemic approach reflects a contemporary dissatisfaction with the scientific concept of man as rational, and anthropological literature re-establishes us as members of the ancient race of man, and archetypal criticism seeks to discover in literature the dramatizations of this membership. If you have anything more to add on to what I've said, please write it in the comment box, like the video, share it with your friends, and if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe and support. Thank you.